All right, it is 23 minutes past the top of the hour. Welcome back to KUTV Primetime News. We are back with an interesting conversation. I'm calling it interesting because we need to talk about diabetes. A few days ago, Tuesday, the 14th of November, the world marked World Diabetes Day. And diabetes has continued to claim lives here and there, and a number of diseases and other health hazards associated or linked to the same. And tonight we have Justa Kajuju, who is an advocate as far as diabetes is concerned. She's the founder of DiaHope and DDoc Voice. She's going to be telling us what these are as we continue to kickstart the conversation and talk about diabetes. Remember, if you have comments or concerns or questions, this is the time. On Twitter, we're there at KUTV_Kenya. And you can drop your comments also on YouTube, just in case you're watching us live on KUTV News Kenya. Be sure to drop your comments down there and let us know what you think about diabetes. If you have any questions, this is the time for the conversation. Karibu sana, Kajuju.
Asante sana, Mr. Mutegi.
Yes.
Yes, this month actually has been Diabetic Awareness Month.
Yes.
And we celebrated on 14th.
Mm-hmm.
We held a walk in KU, creating awareness on diabetes and trying to end stigma around it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so thank you for having me here to talk about this matter that not so many people have confidence to talk about, especially young people.
Yes.
Now, my name is Justa Wenda, and I'm the founder of DiaHope. This is a non-profit organization whereby young people come together, to make a support system and inform each and, people living with diabetes about the challenges and how to overcome them, the hacks on how to manage diabetes, and also try to, put our voice out there to the government to come up with policies that can help us assess proper management of diabetes and diabetes consumables. DDoc Voice, it is an online formation of young people around the world. This is where I got the courage to come back to Kenya and start this DiaHope organization after I met them in Abu Dhabi last year. So it helps us understand the need for advocacy. Yeah, that is what I can say.
All right, thank you so much for that proper introduction. Now I'm going to be asking you why you're so passionate about diabetes. I'm asking this because there are many reasons why people are passionate about stuff. Case in point, I have a very good friend called Zabulon Orina, who heads a World Kenya Kidney Forum, where he talks about matters kidney and hypertension, and that's because one of his relatives was affected at some point. What gives you a lot of passion for you to follow up and advocate for matters diabetes?
In 2018, I was in undergraduate here in KU, and I don't want to say unfortunately or fortunately, but I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and my life changed. I had to look my life in a different lens, a very tiny lens, This made me realize that there is a gap. There were, of course, we had a support group, but people were not confident enough to share. People were not confident, young people were not confident enough even to share with their, roommates, or even some parents were not confident enough to accept that their children have this condition. Coming from a family that's, my dad has diabetes, at least I had support from my siblings and family. But behold that, my friends in school, a lot of things, happen in campus. It was tough for me, and that there was that need. So immediately I completed my undergraduate and enrolled postgraduate. I got into research. I did a research, and I was vetted to be one of 15 young people to research on diabetes. Fortunately, and I did it so well. And research is a process, so bando sijamaliza, but I'm on the process. So I went there. That is when I met the Doc Voices. It is led by one Boston Hawk, and it sponsors young people and even friends of the families or family members that have passion in diabetes, and they educate you and they empower you. They give you a platform to be an advocate, and that's how the hope came up. Actually, I'll be pre-launching it next weekend, God willing.
Amazing.
And then I will kickstart my journey to advocacy in institutions, especially in education institutions. Yeah, that's how I came up with that hope, and that's why I'm doing advocacy, and I'm confident enough to come here and talk about the voiceless people that cannot do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that as well. And of course, that poses a challenge for the young people to keep on pushing some of the agendas. Remember, dear viewer, especially I'm talking to the young people, there are a lot of problems in this world, and you see Justa is here pushing and advocating for this worthy cause that involves diabetes. And of course, that gives us a chance as young people to see that we have many opportunities out of the many problems that we face, yes, including the tough economic times that we have today. Young people are to be depended upon, those that have brilliant minds, to come up with structures, to come up with ways of averting some of these problems. And of course, that is what we're here to do also. Not just talk about health, but talk about awareness and how, as young people especially, we can get into these spaces and talk about matters that affect us. Now, Justa, I want to go back to you. And you mentioned type 1 diabetes at some point. Let's talk. On this Friday news, we love to go back to the drawing board and take things from a very basic perspective. There are people who do not understand what diabetes is. So what is diabetes? And what is that type 1? Is there type 2? Is there type 3?
That's a very nice question, Mr. Motegi.
Right.
And diabetes generally, it is a condition whereby your pancreas produces too little insulin or no insulin, or it produces insulin but your body resists to take up that insulin. So we have three types of, more than three actually, types of diabetes, whereby we have gestational. This is a situational type of diabetes. For instance, during pregnancy, mother can, get diabetes, and that one is within some time after that situation of being pregnant. She recovers from it, but it can progress if not taken care of well. And then there is the baby can get, if you don't follow up well or manage well, follow the physicians directives. Then there is type 2, whereby the body produces now insulin, but it is not able, the body is not able to take that insulin. And then there is type 1. Type 2, it is reversible. It's mostly caused by lifestyle. So with exercise, lifestyle, dieting, you can reverse it. And of course, you can take medication, tablets, or sometimes you can be administered to take insulin. Then there is type 1. So I'm a living experience of type 1. And type 1, whatever my physician told me the first time at Kajuju, it's called Morethi. Kajuju, you have to take insulin until you die. And it was very hard for me to get it. So basically type 1 is whereby you produce very little insulin or no insulin. So you have to take in a hormone called insulin into your body each and every time as you've been directed by the doctor. Yeah, those are the three most common types of diabetes.
All right. You mentioned injection of insulin. Let's go to type 1. Type 1 seems to be the toughest.
Yeah,
we all seem to agree. What are other forms of treatment apart from that? Of course, type 1 diabetes is injection of insulin. Type 2 diabetes, is there any
Yes.
medicine, specific medicine?
Yes, there are medicine for type 2 diabetes, glucophage, and other types of, that is one type of medicine. There are different types because of their, of course, different not industries, but
maybe companies.
Companies that produce them, so they have different names. But mostly they take in those medicines, and then they are advised to take on the right diet, exercise, and that change of the right way of living. Yeah, that is the medication for type 2. And sometimes you can be told to use insulin. But for type 1, you have to use insulin until you die. There's insulin that, like vial, that have the long, kind of injection. Then there are pens. Then there are the digital ones, the pumps, CGM, continuous glucose monitoring. These are the gadgets that technology has come up with. It is inserted under your skin, and it can be able to test you after every 5 minutes. So anytime you're taking a meal, or anytime your insulin spikes or fluctuates, it is able to inform you through maybe a phone or a sensor.
All right, thank you so much. We have like 3 minutes to the end of our conversation. We need to strike the actual reason why we are here: advocacy. And advocacy revolves around many things. We are raising awareness on diabetes.
Yes.
What are some of the myths? What are some of the things that people speak out here about diabetes that are true or not true?
I have a question. Sorry, to answer the question. When was your last time to test your blood sugar?
Maybe 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, but you went to hospital for another thing, or maybe it is the diabetes month.
Actually, someone came to where I was and decided to do a check.
Because it is the diabetes awareness month. But let's say last month. When was the last time? Okay, when was the time you didn't?
It's been a minute.
Yes. Maybe you go to hospital. So you see most of people don't understand that diabetes, it is a condition. It's invisible. It's not visible. So they tend to think maybe they're taboos. Others don't want to, to get into the root causes of diabetes. And to answer your question, I mean, some people believe it is a curse. Others believe it's only old people that get it. Others believe that it's because of intake of sugar. No, that is not the cause. It is caused maybe by genetic, like type 1 or the environment. And that brings me to say this, that there is a lot of stigma around diabetes that people don't know, which includes in workplaces. You might just hear a person saying, I'll give you pressure, until you get there, your sugar rises. That's a stigma. And I'm urging people to do this. Try and support us. Use empowering ones towards us so that we can bring change and impact. I know very well it's so hard to do that. But, let's be agents of change. Support us. Parents that have kids, it's not a curse. It is a condition that is well managed. Your kid will live happily and good health. And that brings me to a point whereby I'm using my voice. I want to, educate people because information, it is the first step towards, ending this stigma. And then I'll call upon, good people to support such initiatives, and also the government to support research in this, and also bring consumables like insulin, injections, the tablets, and better ways to manage diabetes. Yes.
Now, you mentioned the government. I'm going to put you on a scale. You and the government. You as the advocates, as a private advocate. What do you think the government is not doing that you had to come in and do? And what support would you need from the government?
That is a very good question. So the government comes in here. You know, it's nothing without us, nothing for us without us. You will never understand, even if you're a doctor, unless you're living with the condition, you will never understand this. We have something called diabetes rage. This is when diabetes fluctuates and or spikes or goes down. It brings depression. So we need therapies, we need psychological therapies and counseling, and that requires, you know, manpower, healthcare providers to provide us with that, and that's where we call in the government to train most people like me on diabetes matters, which is allowed. Like me, I am a diabetic educator, that's why I know much. To reach out to people, not only in hospitals, but out there. And our discussions should not be discussed within the, you know, closed doors that I don't want people to hear. No, it should be, taught in school, like HIV, you know, like tuberculosis, TB, and other diseases like cancer. Campaigns should be, you know, run around media and all that. And another thing is put a price cap for insulin. Because, for instance, insulin right now, if I go to a chemist, I'll get it at $10.
As we wind up,
yes,
time is up for us.
$10.
Yes.
And other consumers. So at the end of the month, you see, I'll use around $80. That is, so much for a common person. So that's why the deaths of people living with diabetes is high, and a lot of people are not diagnosed. And we want, to live longer and enjoy and have our dreams and be successful for everybody. So I would call up for government to, support this kind of initiative like Dire Hope, join up so that we can be able to create a safe space for people living with diabetes like me and any person back at home or around the world.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. I feel like we've just scratched the surface. I'm going to request by producers Arnold, Dida and Ruth Wanjiru for you to come back next week so that we can talk about the real issues on the ground, because I think that's very important. But thank you so much for joining us today and having this particular discussion.
Thank you.
For sure you're needed back to complete this task, because it is not.
To say just one thing.
Okay.
I'm calling along all young people in institutions to reach out to me so that we can have one voice, and so that we can reach. The more you're able to reach the right resources. That is the government and CSRs.
All right. In 5 seconds, where do they find you?
Dire Hope, it is in Facebook. Dire Hope Africa.
Okay.
Then Instagram, I'm Tindi1_star. And where else? And in Twitter, Dire Hope Africa.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That is Justaka Jojo talking to us about diabetes awareness. We're running short of time. We should have gone to much more, but of course we'll be here to give you more information on diabetes. But for now,